Well, pleasure to be on with everybody today. Appreciate the time. My name is Jeff.aly. I'm a senior manager of solution architecture at Bryant Park Consulting. Bryant Park is an all things NetSuite partner. So we focus in on the core NetSuite ERP, the modules in and around NetSuite, as well as the Oracle package solutions for NetSuite, one of which we're talking today with NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. And as it relates to some of those areas, we focus in really around our technology partners as that foundation. NetSuite and SPS are where we focus this solution, how we can streamline those processes that Matt was mentioning, right? Getting data to one place, but also what are the tools that are required to actually accomplish that in an efficient and cost-effective manner too. NSAW and the packaging around NSAW has allowed customers to not only leverage the package integration and feed of NetSuite data to that data warehousing solution, but also to visualize and tie in other data sources. And that's where our partnership with SPS is really focused in context of allowing customers to get more value out of not only their NetSuite data, but their SPS data in conjunction with that data as well. So as a part of this process too, and as we talk about this application, artificial intelligence is infused throughout it. And I'll show several examples of that today. I won't be able to show every feature, but especially when it comes to the functions features, I'm going to focus in on a few of them. The first is going to be auto insights, how and where the application is actually able to make proactive recommendations of visualizations. The sentiment analysis that the application is also being able to provide, and the system providing a system AI-driven analytics around your data and data sets. But also too, I'll talk about the AI predictive models. One example we'll talk about is customer churn, how I use my data and how the system can actually make proactive recommendations in context to that performance is huge. And that's where letting the tool do a lot of that foundational lift and making those proactive recommendations is where our customers are seeing their ability to move quickly based on that data. There are additional machine learning capabilities, native capabilities, as well as that can get extended even to the Oracle machine learning capabilities of what's packaged with this technology. So I'm excited to have a chance to take you through some of those functions features as we get into the demonstration here. So the view you're seeing here is the analytics layer of NSAW. As a part of this process, this application has a pre-packaged data pipeline with NetSuite, and we've worked with SPS to actually package up a data pipeline and feed of that information to this tool as well. But what I'm showing you here is the ability to actually tie and leverage the interconnectivity across these visualizations and reports. By filtering through this data, this allows me to have dynamic filtering where it ties not only to one visualization, but it's dynamic across every area as I want to drill in and better understand the performance of our business at the end of the day. And so I'm looking at several sales KPI metrics when it comes to sales dollars, units sold, number of locations, number of products. But as I'm filtering through this information, I can see that tie down geographically. I can see how that ties into my individual retailer trends on the right, and how that trend and performance ties to other comparables like a linear trend or regression that the system also automatically generates as a part of these reports and analytics as well. In addition to that, I can even drill down a level deeper as it relates to being able to look at this performance of my sales year over year. Being able to have that quick comparison and understanding how are we tracking in these areas when it comes to individual retailers, geographies, and even down to individual products at the end of the day. Because having that flexibility and traceability from summary to detail is so critical as you're evaluating your data and performance to be able to make strategic decisions as a part of this process. This tool allows you to share this data in multiple capacities, right? I have this great business intelligence layer, but I can always extract this data. I can send scheduled reporting distributions. I can extract this data to PDF, Excel. I can extract it to PowerPoint. And it also has connectivity with Excel too, utilizing a feature called Smart View. So there's a lot of ways that customers are able to utilize this information, but also share this information with stakeholders within and around the business as well. So as a part of this process as well, this can tie into other areas where I want to be able to have greater flexibility and analytics around my inventory and my performance, being able to see my units on order, what's in transit, the status of my inventory across that data and data structure. I can see this to a very granular level, as well as I can also grab macro trends. One of those features that actually captures that is that sentiment analysis that we're looking at right here. This is AI looking at my performance, and it's calling out and highlighting some key areas within that performance that I should really focus on as I'm looking at what and how our business is performing across different areas. And it's that dynamic, similar to what we were looking at on the last set of analytics, as I filter this down to a specific region or filter it out to more of a global view for our business. It has that dynamic capability. So it's always looking at the right level of your data in context the analytics you're trying to produce as a part of that process. But this isn't only just a tool for historicals, right? This is intended to also help me understand what does this mean for our future in context to looking at things like our data pipeline for opportunities, tying in that information and understanding the statuses of those opportunities, intended and targeted close dates, and what are we anticipating as the revenue implications as a part of that process as well. It gives me the flexibility to look at it across my sales force in context of that process, as well as this tool can also even manage commission processes around that sales process as well. So a lot of flexibility of what these capabilities can help drive for businesses, from giving better insights to actually driving and executing on processes like commissions. And those are areas that BPC, Bryant Park, has focused on very heavily in regards to how this tool can help customers within the SPS and NetSuite ecosystem. One of the next areas I wanted to hit on was that customer churn AI predictive model. So here's an example of that coming to life where this model is actually looking at my customers and it's looking at different profiles of customers. I can categorize these customers into large, small. I can look at different demographic information as a part of different attributes that are going to tie into what is going to contribute to a customer's retention. And what does that retention look like based on those trends I see across similar customer groupings and types? And so in here, I have the ability to look at this down to the individual customer level based on those predictions. And based on that prediction, it's actually saying they're likely to, renew the next 2, 4, 6 months. But as we get into, months 10 and 12, we're seeing these customers churn. And so as a part of that process, this allows us to utilize these capabilities to really hone in on how can we focus on a more strategic process and approach for renewals, as well as this can also tie into other areas with those predictive capabilities. So again, there's an inventory stock out prediction. There's an pricing optimization predictive capability as well that can get applied to your data to allow this system to look at that large volume of information and help you glean faster insights in regards to how you drive and incorporate that decision making into your business. But two, as you see this, I can also tie in different variables as a part of how I want to look at the risk ratings for my accounts as well. And this will too, that allows me to have flexibility in actually managing the different risk score that I have for different customers. So by having that approach, I create customer profiles. Having that profile allows me to better have association and understanding of how this information is getting used and what does it mean when it says they're going to actually potentially turn in 10 or 12 months based on that type of customer profile as well. The next section here is just showing you how you have that overarching visibility across your performance. So in this example here, this is looking at a 12-month rolling forecast. And in the application, the system can also help you build out a projection based on a time series forecast. So by utilizing those dynamic filters, the system is proactively providing a recommended projection based on your performance. How great is that, right? We've talked about looking at analyzing our opportunity data and pipeline using other factors when it comes to AI capabilities to also get better insight in regards to our customer performance, pricing, inventory stockouts. But also too, the system can actually help me make a proactive recommendation and forecast based on different areas that it ties to statistical inputs, operational metrics, but also in conjunction with some of the financial areas as well as you're looking at these implications in relation to cash flows, top line projections as a part of that process as well. So very flexible capabilities utilize some of those time series forecasting functions as well. And then the last component I note here too is just, again, having that dynamic visualization across the organization is the fact is this is not a tool that's limited to the house of accounting. This is a business tool at the end of the day that I can allow and get this capability into my sales reps and marketing, other areas of the business as you're looking at driving performance improvements and really managing the business end to end as you think of how this tool brings all of that data together then how you drive action from that data as a part of this process. We'll pause
Jeff,
there.
we had a couple of questions pop up. The first, how long does it typically take to implement NSAW?
Yeah, great question. NSAW is deployed very quickly because of the fact that we actually have that package data pipeline with NetSuite, the data warehouse, as well as the fact we've worked with SPS to package up that integration and data model within NSAW as well. It's a matter of a couple of weeks to get you in the tool, starting to use your data and thinking about how you're going to incorporate these functions features as a part of the broader business application.
The other question, in what ways are you seeing customers grow in their use of NSAW?
Yeah, really it ties a lot to these AI capabilities, how and where they're able to tie in more and more of those functions and features, but also to thinking of this as a business tool, right? There are other data systems that you have and can incorporate to this application as well. And that's where those packaged ETL capabilities that Corey was mentioning earlier too, allow you to do that all in one system. I don't have to go out and buy a new BI tool, then a data warehouse, then an ETL solution. NetSuite's package this up in a very intentional way to allow you to have those tools right at your fingertips as you're thinking of making this a business tool.